Alright, fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters. We're going to a release of Klara and Slowbro, I guess, as well as a release of their new event, the story event, Idle Disciples and Arena Tycoon. That is not what it's called, but close enough. And we're going to be getting 3 new singing pairs alongside this event. They've been doing that a little bit more recently, where they've been giving us events that focus more on more than 2 characters, because that was the big thing back in the day. Well, still is, where you would have one event that focuses on 2 characters, right? You know, Gloria and Signet Suit Karina, you know, Ray and Akari, Datamine and Eriott, you know, Gita and Silver for the 4.5 anniversary, whatever, right? But then also during the 4.5 anniversary, we got the special costume event for Datamine and Eriott, which also included Tierno and Dahlia. So 4 singing pairs for that event, and then this one is going to be focusing on Klara, Avery, and Greta. Content's going to be pretty damn scarce between tomorrow and the 19th. Hell, pretty much until the ranked damage event, because I wouldn't even call the villain arc anything of note for in terms of content, but whatever, I guess. Let's look at Klara, see how good she is. As we know, obviously she's a poison tech character. She's a PokeFair, drops the 12th, leaves August 7th, giving you about 3 weeks to pull for her. Definitely not shabby. And just being frank, this is another case of a striker being put into a tech body, probably for the fact that her EX roll combination, her roll / EX roll combination is better as a tech with a strike roll than a strike with a tech roll, right? I imagine that's probably why they did it, and probably the same case for Champion Sharon as well. But whatever. Anyway, so theme skills, pretty average stuff here. She's a tech again with a special strike EX roll, as stated. Her stats are definitely not bad. 424 on both offenses, 185 defense, 163 special defense, 282 speed. Speed's not that great, but still, it's something. 6-star EX, she's got over 460 in the offenses, over 200 in both defenses, 761 health. This is also a good part of being tech, is that her defensive stats are not completely piss poor, right? The speed's better too. And then the strike EX roll, of course, takes her offenses over 500. Very good. 8 HP is good as well, and all of that stuff, right? So her stats are good, very respectable, 100%, as expected of a character that is basically a damage dealer. Looking at her moves, she's got Sludge Bomb and Poison Jab. You'll see why these are important, quote-unquote important, I guess, to have in a bit. And then she's got her buddy move, Poisonous Shell Sidearm. This move is a word salad, so I'm going to summarize it effectively. The move is activated whenever you have any amount of physical or special moves next. You have +1 special moves next, it'll be activated, +1 physical moves next, +10 of both. It doesn't matter. As long as you have some rank of physical or special moves next, the move is activated. The moves category changes to reflect whichever amount of moves next the user has at highest. If you've got, for example, +2 physical moves next and +1 special moves next, the move will be a physical damage dealing move. And if you have more special moves next, it will be a special move, right? And if they're equal, I think it randomly decides, I guess. And that's pretty much all of what this is. Yeah. That's pretty much what all of this is here. It's pretty nuts. The move never misses. It leaves the target poisoned, guaranteed, and in addition grants the following 2 effects. When the move is physical, it lowers enemy attack and defense by 2 and restores HP to the user. And then when the move is special, it lowers enemy special attack and special defense and applies free moves next to the user. So again, just to summarize, the move will be physical if you've got more physical moves next. It'll be special if you have more special moves next. When it hits the enemy as a physical move, it will leave the enemy poisoned. It never misses. It lowers attack and defense and restores some HP. And when the move is special, it also never misses. It leaves the enemy poisoned. It lowers special attack and special defense and applies free moves next. Yeah, and it's 288 base power. Well, I guess 240 minimum base power. Very respectable damage, 100%. And again, you only need physical or special moves next. So any modern support pretty much is going to be applying this, right? Argenta, Signet Acerola for the physical side, Champion Rosa for both moves up next, right? Chase for, you know, special. I think Chase gives special moves. Does he? I think he does, right? I believe so. Proton, I guess, for special moves next. Neo Champion Blue gives special moves next, but it's not really that much. It's like +2, I think, on 1 usage. I need to think of modern supports that give special moves next buffs. Oh, brother. Rika gives, I think, both. Variety Guzma gives both. I think, yeah, Acerola gives both as well, right? So there's a ton of supports in the modern day that give you a ton of physical or special moves next. Penny, I think, yeah, she gives you special moves next as well. ton of characters that give physical and special moves next. So Klara's got a ton of ways to get her buddy move activated with any modern support, right? And then she's got her training move here, I'm Getting Better, which raises her attack and special attack by 4 and crit by 3. Good self-sufficiency, as usual. And then she's got Max Ooze on all of her moves, which just raise a high special attack, 400 power. It can be special or physical depending on which move you use. Cool, right? Nothing much else to say there. And then she's got her passive skills. Full Course Feast of Venom, which increases her physical moves next when using Poison Jab and increases special moves next when using Sludge Bomb. So this is how she gets her physical and special moves next. You use Poison Jab, you get +1 physical moves next. You use the Sidearm, you lose that physical moves next. You use Poison Jab or Sludge Bomb again, you get it back, repeat, right? And then she's got her passive skills, Physical Max Move, Physical Boost 3, and Special Max Move, Special Boost 3, which gives her physical or special moves next by +3 stat ranks after using the corresponding category max move. So use physical max moves, you get +3 physical moves next. Use special max moves, you get +3 special moves next. And that again will give you, more instances to use Poisonous Shell Sidearm, give you another 2 uses of it, whatever, right? So the big thing with Klara, obviously, is stacking up physical or special moves next and making your buddy move do a ton of damage, because not only is it already a very good, powerful move of 240, you are also getting debuffs, and you are also getting the power-up from the physical or special moves next that she has applied to herself. So she's just a very high-powered damage dealer, 100%. And then she's also got her in a nuke, which the more her special attack is raised, the greater the power of this attack. You just need a special attack support, and you're good, right? Which a ton of characters can apply. That's not really a big problem if you want to maximize special attack. So yeah, just at 1 out of 5 without considering, the grid or anything, Klara already looks really solid. Base 500 offenses effectively, if you give her full investment, we'll say 460, right, for argument's sake, with a bunch of physical and special moves next from her passives and her max move and whatnot, which will then be empowering her 240 base power move. That is very good, especially if you have a support that applies consistent physical and special moves next buffs. Again, Champion Rosa, Elaine, Argenta, those types of supports, right? You'll be getting a pretty much infinite usage of her buddy move, and you don't really have to worry about using Poison Jab or Sludge Bomb at all, which these moves suck, right? These moves don't do damage, at least they don't do that much damage, outside of like on-type battles or whatever. So being able to use this consistently is what you're trying to aim for, and again, with pretty much any modern support, you're going to be able to do that with pretty much no issue. So just at 1 out of 5, Klara's already got really solid damage potential, but let's go ahead and just look at the grid. Let's say at 1 out of 5, she's got nothing, clear-headed, I guess. 2 out of 5 training with NPRs could be good for maximizing special attack on her own, though I wouldn't really worry about it too much, frankly. Sync Regen, Quick Cure, Max Move, Allied Gauge Acceleration, Gobsmack. These 4 abilities mostly are just, like, I guess, quote-unquote, gauntlet food. I mean, Gobsmack could be good for deactivating whatever is, status change, what would you call it? Like damage reduction ability when enemies have status changes or don't have status changes. Gobsmack could be good for that. Gauge Acceleration is good for her self-sufficiency, or gauge efficiency rather, and then Sync Regen just for a little bit of healing, though that's not really that fantastic. I mean, it isn't like, I guess, duos for the Legendary Gauntlet or whatever, and then Quick Cure, pretty generic stuff. Same with National Remedy, right? So these abilities mostly just gauntlet food. Nothing really too much to consider there outside of it. Debut physical and special moves up next. This is pretty much just going to be giving you free instances to use her buddy move without having to worry about bringing a support, or at least using a support early on, I guess, to give you that physical or special moves up next buff, to have that move activated, right? So you don't have to worry about using Poison Jab early on. That's something for sure. I wouldn't say there's much else to mention, honestly. Just bring a support, frankly. I don't think this is 2 out of 5 is really all that worth it outside of, again, gauntlet stuff. I would not say it's all that impactful. Just pretty much bring, either keep her at 1 out of 5 or probably bring her to 3 out of 5, frankly. These don't really matter that much. Just bring a support that is able to buff physical or special moves next, or both. And then 3 out of 5, she gets quite a bit more, right? Soften Up. Sync Move, special moves up next 2. I'm going to guess, yeah, Sync Move, physical moves up next 2. Endurance, Haymaker, Toxic Power, Sync Nodes, sure. And then opponent, Poison Max moves up 3. So Soften Up 1, this obviously increases the chance of performing a crit on her Sync move, right? So it'll guarantee you that crit if you've got max crit, which you should. So the thing with, again, if you don't people know, but I may as well mention, is that in the game, you've got the guaranteed crits at +3 for regular moves, but for sync moves, it goes down a tier, which I think is 80% crit chance on sync moves at +3 crit. So you're always going to be having that 20% chance to miss, especially since she has the Striker EX roll. That is basically 3 chances to miss because you're going to be probably hitting 3 enemies, right? So you got to worry about that. That's why Soften Up 1 is pretty decent on pretty much any striking character, which is good, right? Not much else to mention. The sync move, physical and special moves up next. Boosts are nice. This is good for some potential, what would you call it, burst damage, right? Where you could potentially build up a ton of physical and special moves next over the course of between using her sync move and then using her next use of Poisonous Shell Shot. Yeah, that word. Poisonous Shell Sidearm. Combine her with like Neo Champion Rosa or someone. You could use Rosa's Buddy move, giving you +2 physical moves next, right before Klara uses her sync move, and then you would get the physical moves next right after Klara uses her sync move, and then you could probably have another usage of Rosa's trainer move right after Klara's sync move, and you could get +6 physical moves next, hit him with a Poisonous Shell Sidearm, and you got yourself a pretty big nuclear hit. And even outside of that, right, +2 physical and special moves next could be good for just maintaining momentum with Sidearm, and again, it's boosted by 2 physical and special moves next. That's good. Though, frankly, if Grid Energy doesn't call for this, probably wouldn't pick it up just because it's pretty out of the way. Especially because Endurance is also quite out of the way as well. Like, Endurance can save you, right, in certain battles, but for the most part, I would not pick it up for what Klara intends to be doing, which is pretty much just all damage. Again, she's a striker in a tech body. It's not much else to say there. And then she's got Haymaker and Toxic Power. Haymaker plus the innate of Brain Power gives her 200% total nuking multipliers. That is always going to be a very respectable nuke, no doubt about that. And she's obviously got good offenses for it. She's got good DPS. She's got a solid nuke, good offensive stats, good DPS, just all around a good damage dealer. And then Toxic Power 5, a 50% multiplier for her DPS options. Combine that with that of like Critical Strike, Super Powered, or whatever you give her as a lucky skill, and you've got yourself 70 to 80% in total DPS multipliers on a move that is, again, 264 power and is boosted by at least +1 moves up next. That's good. Like, there's no doubt about that. This is good. She's going to be doing a ton of damage. I cannot stress that enough. And then opponent poison max moves at 30% chance, sorry, not chance, but 30% multiplier for her max moves when attacking an enemy that is poisoned. You've got yourself that burst damage in the form of the max moves as well. So not only are you dealing with very good consistent DPS and a very solid nuke as well, you are also dealing with potential burst damage from the max move as well. So she's got a ton of outlets for damage and a ton of outlets for enhancing damage with the defensive debuffs from the usage of her buddy move here, the physical and special moves next that causes the move to be used in the first place, the 50% multiplier here, and everything else that goes into it. So, and also, let's consider the +3 physical and special moves next. Sorry, +3 physical or special moves next that she gets after using her max move, which is another form of amazing burst damage for her sidearm buddy move. Or shell sidearm buddy move, whatever, right? That's definitely good. So 3 out of 5 Klara is obviously quite solid. You've got yourself the option for burst, physical, or special moves up next with these passives here. You got yourself the guaranteed crits on the single move, Soften Up 1. You've got a quite respectable poison nuke as well with Haymaker, plus the innate brain power, and then Toxic Power 5, which is probably the most appealing node for a 50% buff in overall move damage. That's definitely going to be quite oppressive, at least I would say so. And all she needs to maintain this momentum is a physical or special moves up next support, which, again, any modern support is pretty much doing that type of thing, which is amazing. Looking at 4 out of 5 players, got Max Countdown and Max Damage Guard. Max Damage Guard is becoming more and more appealing the more you look at fucking Nolan's Ultimate Battle and the like, right? Max Countdown for a little bit of sync ramping, and sync acceleration just in general is good, making sure your max move is not screwing over your sync countdown. Definitely not too shabby. I wouldn't say they're extremely impactful nodes, but they are there and they could be useful. They've got their niches. And then 5 out of 5, she gets Head Start 1 combined with Max Countdown. That's pretty much serving the same purpose, I would say. Just a little bit more sync ramping. And then Discombobulate 9, lowering enemy accuracy when attacking the enemy. This is a good gauntlet ability, and of course debuffs could be nice for, whatever purpose. If the enemy has fluid fortification, like Latias, Annabelle, whatever, or if, you're trying to activate Power Play or something, debuffs are good for that, and just generally having the enemy miss is always going to be helpful. But for the most part, I would say this is an ability that's like, hey, people who do the Legendary Gauntlet, you got to get to 5 out of 5 now if you want it to have an easier time. At least that's the way that I'm looking at it. So it's a good node, frankly. I mean, Discombobulate 9 is going to be a good node, but I think for most people who are not trying to rank in the Gauntlet, probably not even doing stuff like the high score event or whatever, just doing like 3 out of 5, Klara is good enough. She's going to be getting all of her power from this, and pretty much everything you're really going to be considering using on her is what you're going to be getting at this moot level. 5 out of 5, I'd say, is valuable for, again, Legendary Gauntlet purposes with Discombobulate. Could mess around with some Sync Countdown stuff with Max Countdown and Head Start 1, depending on what your team comp is. Maybe combine that with something like Oleana, where she's got the Sync Countdown on her trainer movement and whatnot. You could play around with that a little bit. Just depends what you want to do, frankly. As for how I would build her grid, easily picking up these 3. The sync node is not really that impactful, but I mean, it's right there. You're probably going to pick that up anyway. I probably wouldn't prioritize powering up the max moves, but you can, because it is, at the end of the day, a 440 base power move, so a 30% multiplier could be pretty amazing there. I just think it really depends what you want to build. And also it's in a pretty bad location. Like Fierce Entry 2 is not really that valuable. I guess, it could be decent if you're trying to maximize Haymaker or something and you want to just be self-sufficient or whatever, but for the most part I don't think Fierce Entry is all that fantastic of a node. And you're gonna need a 5 out of 5 Klara if you even want to be able to pick this up anyway, so it's a little iffy. Yeah, even then you could sacrifice sync nodes and whatnot as well, but I wouldn't. Oh well. Doesn't really matter. I would probably just pick this up as like your minimal grid. Use that extra 6 energy how you want. Maybe you could pick up the special attack up node if you want to, or maybe pick up the attack nodes, or just whatever else it may be in here. Or maybe you want to go for the sync move special boost 2. Costs extra energy, but that's fine. Or you could just get a sync node and pick it up anyway. Whatever you want to do. I'd say that my only real complaint about Klara is her physical boost up next boost is so far out of the way because endurance is not that fantastic. None of these nodes are really that fantastic to be worth picking up for just the specific boost. And also her max move boost is kind of isolated here around nodes that, again, you're not really going to be trying to go for all that often. Could be good again in the Gauntlet and whatnot, right? Getting that nuclear max move could be good alongside like Sync Regen, which you're probably going to want to pick up anyway. But outside of that stuff, I don't really think it's that helpful to pick up. Or it's not really worth going for over literally everything else. Yeah, that's pretty much my only complaints, because, I don't know, I feel like her physical side is going to be a little bit, stronger. No, I could, frankly, no, not really. I mean, she's got Roxy to boost her special side, right, with the special defense debuffs and all that. I don't know. Really just depends on what the team composition is, because you can really prioritize, like, a physical support with, like, our, Signicidus Arola, Gita, and then Klara, right? That physical is going to be looking very strong, but you could also, do the inverse and run like Klara, Signicidus Roxy, Chase, Champion Rosa, Elaine, something like that, where it's going to be kind of more special leaning, right? So it really just depends on the team composition. In terms of team composition, she does have good partners. Poison's got so many good options now. Like, Poison's a lot better than what it was like a year and a half ago. Like, now, prior to Oleana, Poison was suffering. You had Iris and you had Emma. Those two didn't even really synergize that well, and Iris had her own set of problems. Emma was fine, but mostly dealing with Iris as a partner. But then once Oleana came along, it just started snowballing. You got Oleana with her rebuff and whatnot, and the amazing nuke. You got Ariana with her amazing nuke. Roxy with the nuke, the DPS, the double terrain. Petrol's pretty good as well, but he's mostly piercing blows, food. And then Gita as well, being an amazing master for Poison Zone Setter too. Plumeri exists as well. I'm mostly memeing. Plumeri's got a really good nuke, but at the same time, I don't think it's not really that worth mentioning. By the way, like, Poison's just gotten so many buffs, and Klara definitely appreciates that, and she's definitely, I would say, going to be a big member of the Poison team, because she's just going to be your biggest source of damage, I would say, for the most part. She's just got amazing potential for that, which I guess is kind of what they're aiming for, making her a striker. Yeah, striker, right? Whatever. Anyway, that's my thoughts about Klara and Galarian Slowbro. Let me know think about them down in the comments below. Definitely a good character for sure. She's not as techy as I would want her to be, but I mean, she does have some utility stuff with the defensive debuffs, the healing, the free moves next, the poison, the accuracy debuffs and whatever, right? But again, she's mostly just damage. Let's get that out of the way. She is damage for the most part, first and foremost, which is fine because she does it well, but whatever. I'll see you later. Hope you all enjoyed. Good luck on your summons. Good luck on skipping. Peace.